Welcome to the show. Today we're going to be talking about Wolfenstein: The New Order, the latest entry into the Wolfenstein franchise, which started many years ago now, with id Software making what would later be the template of the modern run-and-gun style of FPS. And MachineGames, the developer here, was greatly inspired by that, and you'll get to see some of the very fun things you can do to Nazis. And now, we all like to kill Nazis. Let's face facts here. Nazis are one of the most fun enemies to kill in games, just because they're evil and they're not shy about their evilness. And right there you saw me stab a guy, and that actually plays a pretty big role in, I think, why Wolfenstein has such great enemy design, in addition to them just being Nazis plain and simple. The who I just stabbed in the back right there was a commander, and you'll see at the very top right of the screen that signal detected, and that tells me that there's a second commander on the field, and the whole idea is stealth is optional. And what that means is you can go about it like right now what I'm doing, where you kill the commanders first, and then your life's a bit easier. And it definitely makes them feel a lot more organized and more like an actual military force. And right there, as you saw me shoot a guy, he ragdolled nicely. And yeah, you'll see these guys react in a pretty human way, because they are human, and they're a lot like what I've been talking about with my first video on this, which is, they do overact. They're like theater actors in that they overplay their role, especially because they're Nazis. I mean, it's fun to see Nazis screaming in pain and exploding and having their heads blown off like you've seen already. But yeah, I mean, the main thing with this game is it's not only just their overacting that makes them satisfying, it's the fact that you can have a bit more freedom with how you interact with them just as a unit, because they have those commanders there to call in additional help if you don't go about it in the stealthiest way possible. And now for the rest of it, because you've already seen the stealth, I'll be doing a lot more loud, so you'll eventually get to hear some clips of them reacting. Yeah, right there. Like, you saw him staggering away from the grenade explosion. It's just that sort of overacting and just human aspect to the way these guys are animated, and that just gives them a lot of life, like I've been talking about with a lot of the other games I've been talking to you guys about. But this one really had a lot of personality for what you could really call is just another dull gray shooter, in spite of the fact that this game originated the idea of the dull gray shooter. Yeah, I mean, they react in a underwhelming but still fun and responsive way. I mean, compared to Fear's enemies or Halo's enemies, they're a lot more subdued. Like right there, you saw because I could have stealthily killed him with the silenced pistol right there, but I didn't. I ran in there, and you saw in the subtitle it said, "Hey, stop!" And it's that sort of thing, like them saying and reacting to your presence, that really does give it life. And in, I think, a minute or two here, you're going to see me run into a room full of them with the commander, and I'll try and play a little clip during that segment of the actual gameplay, so you get to hear the commanders respond and start panicking, and then have their commander in turn respond to them saying, okay, yeah, we are going to send help. And it's just the idea that there is a larger force. You aren't seeing it until you make them need to use it, but it's still there. And I think that idea is brought across in a very great beautiful way through this sort of, you can pick if you want to do stealth, or like right there I could have stabbed him, but you know, and right there you saw some of the wonky physics that can happen in any game. But back to my point, you know, these guys do feel like they are an organization. They feel very real, even if it's 1960 and there's Nazis who have taken control of the Earth and have a secret moon base. You know, even with all of that, it still is grounded enough in these human reactions to make it feel real. And obviously, you know, it's fun to watch Nazis have blood come flying out of them as you fill them full of bullets, and watch their heads blow up and stagger around as you just destroy them all. And I mean, that plays to that, once again, very big aesthetic with what I've been discussing with enemy design of sensation. You feel really good when you see the Nazis stagger around as you fill them full of holes, like right there. And as they yell and everything, that definitely plays into why they're fun to shoot. But this game adds another layer onto it with those commanders. And I mean, you didn't see a whole lot because I've played this level a ton of times and I've gotten it down to a science, frankly, of what I can do with it. But you know, I probably should have given them a little bit more time alive to keep calling in reinforcements, but I also wanted to keep the video brief. Yeah, you know, the commanders, they really add that extra layer to the combat and to just that sense of place that you don't see as much with a lot of other games, where, you know, your action will immediately have an effect where, oh, one guy saw you, he's going to radio his commander, and then you're going to start having a bunch more enemies spawn, and until you get rid of that commander, they're going to keep coming because they know where you are and they're going to make sure they try and kill you, the bear-like guy that you are. And coming up is probably the most interesting section of this level, where you can do way more than you previously can with the way the game's laid out, where you'll see me alert everybody and then go straight for the commander. And you know, the interesting thing, oh, and my horrible sniping when I was recording this, but yeah, you got to see his head blow up, and you know, that's just a very satisfying thing where you got to make the Nazi explode. And yeah, right there, so I killed the commander, but there's still a bunch of them coming. Oh, and they even summon little helicopter drone guys to ruin your day too. And right there, you know, they react when you throw the grenades, a lot like the Fear enemies, just now they're speaking German because they're Nazis instead of cloned soldiers. But it really does, just their reactions in that sort of theatrical way, in addition to you being able to blow them apart and just treat them like they are the horrible people they were. And then just the commanders really, I think, are what made me appreciate this game a lot more than if it was just, oh, I'm going to murder Nazis left and right. Because, I mean, as fun as that is, you know, the fact that they do respond in a somewhat realistic, if kind of comical fashion of, oh my god, there's one guy and we can't kill him, let's send in another squad of guys and keep sending in a squad of guys until he's dead or we're all dead. And, you know, it adds sort of to that tongue-in-cheek aspect of the game, where as serious as its story is, you know, the enemies are still kind of funny in their own right, in the way they respond to you, just in this, oh, he's one guy, we're going to send in the big guns, and actually you'll see the big guns really soon. It just makes it so much more enjoyable than just another World War II shooter. And I mean, Wolfenstein wasn't ever big on the story front. It didn't need to be. It was fun to just shoot Nazis in the face. But this game definitely introduced more of a story to it, and it, I think, really introduced just more stories you could tell about the gameplay because of the way the Nazis respond. And I think it's just a beautiful system they had put in here. And right now you're going to get to see 1960s Nazi technology at its finest with these big stompy robots. And now I don't have access to a really good mech game to talk about, so I'll do a little talk about mech games here, where the reason we like destroying these giant killer robots so much is that you can pick them apart. I mean, right there, I didn't pick them apart that much. I disabled him and shot him in the back, which is the efficient way. But yeah, you know, these guys are fun because you can blow pieces off them. And as we wrap it up here, you know, just this game had a lot of sense of place, and you do have a real world response with these guys. And I just think that's something that should be acknowledged, that MachineGames really captured well. And anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed my little shtick, and catch you guys later.